mean, I know Lori is, for some reason, she has a great deal of empathy for Billy Napier, which I don't understand.
Oh, you do?
You know why?
He wears a lot of blue and orange.
Okay.
Cast Iron Balls, a podcast about sports, because sports is kind of the only thing we do collectively anymore that is not overwhelmingly immiserating. My name is Bob, sitting across the way from my good friend and co-host. That's Abe. How you doing tonight, Abe?
Doing well, Bob.
Yeah, here we are. Lori's here too. How you doing tonight, Lori?
I'm good. I'm glad that you said that.
Lori's good and glad that I said that. Tonight is Thursday, September 19th, 2024. My mother's 65th birthday, if anybody's keeping track out there.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Happy birthday, Mom. Time for the gold placenta, or the gold umbilical cord.
That's at 75.
No, the gold watch is a 65, because you retire at 65.
For placentas, though.
Oh, okay. Well, 65 is the new 45 or something, so...
Oh, yeah? Is that how it works?
I think so, yeah. Hey, how you doing tonight? What you got for me?
So, I think I mentioned on previous episodes, not of the balls, but of the brains.
Did I say it right? Did I say cast iron balls?
No. I'm saying,
okay.
I don't think I mentioned this on the cast iron balls. This is a new thing. But on some weekend, me and my friends would play pickleball. At this bar, and sometimes it would have like other events. Like one time there was some sort of drag yoga thing that was happening while we were also playing pickleball. Anyways, apparently that
is
business,
that like the national anthem? Like if the national anthem is playing on the next little league field over, you're supposed to stop respectfully, take off your hat, and acknowledge that the national anthem is playing. If you're playing pickleball a couple of slots down in the bar from where the drag show is taking place, do you have to stop respectfully
that's a good question.
and watch the performance?
In sports, like, is it like a sightline thing? Like if you're at the concessions, like you're not where the field of play is, you can't see any flag. You can't see the person who's singing.
100% question of social influence. And it's, will the person next to me give me a dirty look if I try to order these nachos while the national anthem is playing barely audibly in the background?
I think it would only be American of you to order the nachos and keep the line moving.
It's competing interests here in America, though. You know, because there's always the fucking security guard who thinks he's a cop who's showed up to the athletic event, and he's very demonstratively taken off his cap. And he's probably got his shirt tucked in, but he has turned to fate with his large belt, and there's probably a flashlight on there because he wants you to think that he's armed, but it's just his little 6-inch flashlight that he's keeping on his belt. And he is facing the flag, and he will give you dirty looks if you do not follow suit.
Yeah, it's been my experience that is like a 50-50 thing. Like a lot of times people are just milling about in the concessions and the bathroom. Like, I mean, definitely nothing. You're not standing at attention in the shitter, right? So I guess it depends. But no, this establishment with the pickleball and the occasional yoga, they have shuttered their business.
No.
Yeah, so like
you know what? They're trying to be too many things to too many people. You got to pick a lane.
That
be
may be it.
The drag performance bar or be the pickleball bar, but you can't be both.
Maybe they bit off more than they could chew. I don't know what happened, but like we're now down a pickleball place, so we'll have to find an alternate place to play this sport.
Something else I noticed about myself with regard to the national anthem is that I often stand, like when I'm standing respectfully, my natural move is to clasp my hands behind my back.
Specifically, your right hand over your left wrist.
If you say so.
That's what you're doing right now.
Right. I'm just trying to demonstrate sitting here in the chair. But it's not dissimilar from the way that when the military stands at like parade rest or whatever I was never in the military, so I don't know. But the point is that my brother, Duncan, I forget where we were, but I was standing in that fashion. It wasn't out of respect for anything. We were just standing around somewhere, and it was how I was standing. And he said, he like tried to correct me. He's like because he's a Marine, and he knows how to do it properly. And he tried to put me in the right position. And then I thought, oh no, there are people out there.
Ha!
Like I'm doing a stolen valor potentially by standing in this way that is natural to me, and people will look upon me,
and then they'll just think you're a normal Marine.
Yeah, but then it's really stolen valor.
No,
so I either do it.
They'll
poorly.
never know.
Wait a minute, just to be clear, are you saying that posture is reserved for the service members?
I didn't think so, but then I realized that I was doing a thing that is sort of confined for the most part to military types, and I got weird about it. Like it started to feel weird, like maybe I shouldn't be doing it.
That's interesting. I mean, so like, what's the etiquette? Like the hand over one of your heart or your heart? One of your hearts.
One of your hearts.
Yes.
Us humans.
Yeah.
I was milling about with the other humans at the grocery store.
Fucking Abe.
One of our hearts. I mean, our singular.
Yes.
Just what's the normal? Putting your hand over your one and only heart.
What a weird mistake to make.
Yeah, it's not always
fucking octopus.
Not while the anthem is going. Like while it's going, because I usually wear a ball cap. I hold the cap over the heart. It's during all of the other fucking nonsense that's going on. Like
I see.
Like at a little league,
Little League
for
pledge.
example, it is wrong to put your hand over your heart during God Bless America, which they insist on doing. It is wrong to put your hand over your heart for the Little League pledge, which a lot of people insist on doing. The hand over the heart, like it's special because it's for the national anthem or the Pledge of Allegiance or what have you, not just for any old thing. Okay. And so when I look around and I see a bunch of idiots with their hand over their heart for God Bless America, this is wrong. The correct posture is literally any other posture. But then I look like, apparently, I might be confused for someone in the military.
I think you shouldn't worry about what these other people think of you.
What if somebody walks up to me and is like, thank you for your service? It's like, no. You're confused. I just stand this way, you weirdo.
Right. Or they inquire about like
welcome.
Which branch. Yeah, like which branch you're from. Now, if you can't do the behind the back thing, you can't do having your hand in your pocket is also wrong. Like,
very disrespectful.
Everything else is rude, and I do everything else because I don't care.
Yeah, like it seems like you're very limited in what you can do. I guess you could do that, like just your two hands in front of your crotch kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
that's kind of what I do.
You could cross the hands in front of the crotch, and that's okay. But then it looks like you might be trying to hide a boner, and you don't want to be.
It doesn't look like that when I do it.
In this day and age. Anyway, let's open up the WGAS Newsbag Sports Edition. It's time for Who Gives a Shit News Sports. Number one, right off the top, we have to discuss.
Wait, let me guess. Tennessee.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Triple for the cycle. Homer for history. On a 1-2, Ohtani sends one in the air. The other way. Back it goes. Gone! One-of-a-kind player. One-of-a-kind season. Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Shohei Ohtani of the hated Los Angeles Dodgers hits his 50th home run of the season tonight to create the 50-50 club just a year after Ronald Acuna Jr. Managed to enter the 40-40 club, which seemed like a pretty cool thing to do.
Right.
And
was there no intermediate 41 through 50?
I mean, you wouldn't have a 45-45 club. That's just annoying to say.
You want a round number. Because, there are, 9 games or so left? He could do 55-55. Is that going to be a thing?
It should be.
Abe, he came up.
It's 5 more impressive than 50.
A couple of innings later and did the following.
Certainly smiling. We all are watching this guy. Oh, my gosh! Shohei Ohtani! The greatest day in baseball history!
The greatest day.
This is not real life. He is not human.
Everyone seems very unimpressed and just normal,
Good Lord.
except your guy
He
talking.
seems almost bashful about it, like almost sort of like ashamed about it. Like that was too much, wasn't it? I mean, maybe that's just your anti-Japanese bigotry rubbing
This is
off
outrageous.
on me. But he seems almost a little bit ashamed of having done something so incredibly awesome. He hit 3 home runs tonight. He had 6 hits, 3 home runs. 3 home runs, a double, a couple of hits, 2 stolen bases with 4 runs scored and 10 runs batted in. He was a triple shy of this cycle, which I think you can excuse since he hit the 3 home runs. It's not crazy to say it's the greatest day by an individual at the plate in baseball history. There have been players who've hit 7 home runs. I believe that's, or not 7 home runs, 7 hits in a single game. That's been done before once or twice. And then this is not even actually the most total bases in a game. That's still, and the total bases is just how many bases you achieved with your hits. It doesn't include like moving up on other people's hits, and it doesn't include stolen bases or anything like that. So Sean Green once had also for the Dodgers had a 19 total bases day when he hit 4 home runs and a double in a single game, and I guess. And a single also. Yeah, a single and a double and 4 home runs for 19 total bases, the single game record. And Ohtani, of course, is going to have, the 12 for the home run, and then the double makes 14, and then 2 more singles makes 16. So, I mean, it's one of the greatest days in baseball history by a single player, and he's just fucking unbelievable. And it's funny to, like, all he had to do to have this sort of a season was to have Tommy John surgery and not be able to pitch, apparently.
Right. So is he going back to that? Is he going to try to do the 2-way thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the reason that he got the $1 billion deferred contract or whatever it was that he was going, like they promised him that he would be able to do both when he was healthy.
This guy's unbelievable.
Quite a night for Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers, as they also clinched a playoff spot tonight as well.
He can easily forget about that whole thing with his translator. Like it seemed like a million years ago now.
Definitely had nothing to do with Shohei. Of course not.
What did you have App State at something in a bet?
I don't think I do have App State in a bet.
In your big parlay thing.
No, I have Boise State in the big parlay thing. Yeah, App State.
Okay.
App State, I would like to lose actually because it means that Boise, like
I'm gonna
need App
it's
State
now 28-0
and Liberty to lose a game or two here, so that Boise State can be the Group of 5 representative. Okay. Speaking of which, Abe, you are currently 1-2 on live games, or 1-3?
Yeah,
1-3, right? Yeah.
1-3 on live
Not
games.
great.
Do you want the Patriots and the Jets are live right now? I don't have a score. Let me pull that up.
The Jets are up 7-0.
Okay, Jets are up 7-0 with
insurmountable.
Oh my, 7-0 at the start of the second quarter. What do we think here, Abe? Make
This
the
is
live
like,
call.
This is almost like cheating. Of course, it can be the Jets. I mean, everybody knows the Jets are going to win.
All right, you're 1-3. You've only got 3/4 of a game to go. Does ESPN have the game likely winner up yet
Sure
here?
they do.
Win probability right now, 81.3% for the Jets.
Okay,
Round
what
it
was
up.
it last on Monday with the Falcons?
Round it up. All right. We will note that and see what Abe's running tally is when we meet again on
Also,
Monday.
I should have gotten that Monday night game right. These stupid Eagles and their dumb prevent winning defense nonsense. Like, what are we talking about? I mean, I'm happy for the Falcons, but what sort of defense is that?
Quite a thriller for the man who I insisted should be benched and in favor of Michael Penix Jr. Kirk Cousins coming through in the end. All right, moving on here in the WGAS Sportsbag. We've got from The Athletic, D3 school in Springfield, Ohio, cancels athletic events through Sunday due to security concerns. This is apparently a reaction to a whole series of bogus threats coming in from out of the country, threats of violence, bomb threats, that sort of thing. They initially just said we're going to do remote learning or what have you. But that wasn't enough. They also had to cancel all of the athletic events as well, in part because a bunch of kids just went home rather than staying on campus to do their remote learning. Not a lot to say about this except that that stupid JD. It's all JD Vance's fault.
Is it connected to? I was going to ask. Is it connected to that whole thing? Like,
yes.
Is this like?
Yeah, all of the bomb threats, all the threats of violence are a result of them being in the news for the eating of pets out there in Springfield.
And so people outside of the country are taking advantage of this so they can.
Yeah, I mean, this is a classic opportunity for like the Russian, the Fancy Bear, and the other international troll farms to say, hey, we know how to stir up some shit when some shit's going on in America. And
right.
So they start calling in these fake bomb threats and messing with everybody.
The thing about a fake bomb threat, you have to take it as seriously as a real bomb threat, right? And so I would imagine like it doesn't cost much to make these bomb threats. Like what would stop some foreign adversary or just some bored person from making bomb threats throughout the whole country? Like just
someone who didn't want to go to school.
Yeah, like crippling the whole country. Because like what's to stop them from just doing this at every state and not just Ohio?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just whatever comes to their attention in the moment in the news cycle. They're like, I'll bet we can cause some trouble here, so let's go.
Yeah.
You raise an interesting point, which is that I'm sort of constantly in awe that everything continues to hold together, even though at any given moment...
This is a sports podcast.
I know it's a sports podcast, but at any given moment, it could all just fucking fall apart.
Yeah, like of course. Anyway, next sports thing.
You know how
Jesus.
you have,
Lord,
you know how
cracking
we have
the whip.
You know how we
have a whole other podcast for depressing shit.
It's not depressing. It's just interesting.
This is D3. This is very low in when it comes to college football. Like they should have like a designated Madden player. Give them a scholarship. If something like this happens, just play remotely and continue. Just don't have the actual football game. Let them fight it out in the NCAA football game. Now that it's back, and you'll be good to go.
I disagree. I think that this school should fucking grab their cojones and say, fucking come after me. I don't care about your stupid bomb threats. Be the bigger person here. You're not. This is all made up. It's all nonsense. You're going to be fine. Just go do it. All right. Also from The Athletic, Tennessee includes a 10% talent fee in raising 2025 football season ticket prices. The University of Tennessee has a top-notch football team, according to The Athletic here. That's not my words, quoting from the article. Yes. Record-breaking financials and another plan to use the former to build on the latter, with an eye on the future. The university announced a 10% talent fee will be added to the cost of 2025 football season tickets in preparation for the arrival of revenue sharing with college athletes. That, along with an initial 4.5% average increase, means Vols fans will pay 14.5% more on average for tickets next season. According to current settlement projections, which may be effective as early as July 1st, 2025, institutions can share revenue with their student athletes. And so they're passing this along to the Tennessee fan base. Abe, is this something that a program like Tennessee, their fan base, will tolerate, or should they, in grand populist fashion, begin rebelling against these sorts of increased taxes on their ability to enjoy their team?
I guess the timing is good for Tennessee because like there's some excitement around this program now, but. What if there's no talent? Does the fee come down? Like in a couple of years, if they just fall apart like they typically do, like do they go down to 5%?
In a couple of years, they'll have to pay the players anyway.
Yeah, but like, I mean, for right now, I think people will grumble and pay. Like, what was that? The personal seat license? Remember that scam?
Yeah.
That started, and then it spread everywhere, and people will complain, and then they pay it anyways. Like, anything football related in this country, people will complain, and then they'll pay. Like, and so. I don't know if this will spread to other schools, but I would imagine that it will, right? I mean, it's not going to just stay in Tennessee. If Tennessee can get away with it.
If all of a sudden the athletic department has to shell out between $15 and $20 million a year to their 85 football players, yeah, somebody's going to pay for it, and it's certainly not going to just come off the top of whatever the athletic department has on the budget. They're going to seek other revenue opportunities in order to cover the new expense. That's just how business works, right? the thing that people complain about here is this 10 or 15% ticket hike. That's not where ultimately, yes, they're trying to make up their bottom line so that they add more. They add a sufficient amount of money to their revenue draw so that it doesn't having to shell out this money doesn't impact them. But like who's really going to pay
I don't like it. It reminds me of a delivery fee. Like when they started doing delivery fees, but that doesn't go to the driver.
Yeah, that's right.
A lot of the time it doesn't go to the driver, certainly. But the people who really end up paying it, because there's only so many people who buy Tennessee season tickets, right? I mean, there's a good number, obviously, but compared to the number of people who, say, have a cable or streaming bundle that they pay, like the ESPN portion of that bundle is like 15 or 20% of the total cost of the thing that you're having come into your house. Like the fact that they have $3 billion agreements with the different conferences, that's what raises the prices for the average fan, is that your cable bundle goes from $74.99 to $79.99, and then the next year it's going to be $84.99, right? Like YouTube TV started out at like, I think
35, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first cities that it started in, it was under $40, I think, right?
Yeah, when I first got it, it was $35 flat.
I think the first time that we were able to get it, it was like $50 a month by the time it finally got to us here in Charlottesville.
What's it up to now?
I think it's like $75 or something for the basic package. It's fucking outrageous. And it's largely can be attributed to, I mean, at first YouTube, of course, wanted to have a low price point to get people excited. But every single time the only thing that's driving live television right now is live sports. That's why they're able to generate these enormous live TV contracts every single time they go out to renegotiate them. And so the thing that we're going to ultimately pay for is not the season ticket prices, it's the cable packages, because we need the live sports channels.
Are they going, I guess it will at some point have to come up with some sort of framework that's similar to a salary cap, like, because what's to stop the bigger programs from just like having unlimited sums of money to pay players? I mean, there's already this advantage that exists.
Yeah, because they're going to have to figure it out. We just don't know, because there could be a salary cap. We just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, also in the WGAS news bag, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp signs order to allow schools to pay players. Schools in Georgia have legal cover to immediately begin paying their athletes directly, according to an executive order signed by the state's governor Tuesday morning. Governor Brian Kemp signed an order that prohibits the NCAA or athletic conferences from punishing any university or college in Georgia for, quote, offering compensation or compensating an intercollegiate student athlete for the use of such student athletes' name, image, and likeness. NCAA rules currently prohibit schools from directly paying athletes for the rights to use their name, image, and likeness. The association agreed to drop its restriction on schools paying for NIL deals as part of a pending antitrust settlement, but that agreement has not been finalized. If the settlement is approved in its current form, those new rules are expected to go into effect at the start of the next academic year. The order in Georgia is effective immediately. So this is just Georgia getting ahead of any potential blowback from the NCAA if they wanted to try to enforce some nonsense about this year based on rules that won't go into effect until next year. And then who knows? And the state law has been found to supersede any NCAA rules anyway. So Kemp's basically superseding the NCAA here with what he's doing. The article goes on to say the pending antitrust settlement, if approved, would also cap the amount of money that U.S. schools can give directly to athletes. The cap is expected to be slightly higher than $20 million in its first year and increase annually. So that's the answer. The schools need to come up with, and that's why Tennessee came up with their 10% number or their 15% number, is they need to raise $20 million because that's the most that they're going to be permitted to spend. And schools like Georgia and Tennessee, presumably, will want to spend every penny that they're permitted to in order to bring in the players that they want and not lose them in the transfer portal.
So, like, with that in mind, I guess the next question will be, and I guess we'll find out over the coming years, kids can jump around from school to school year by year. So, like,
not if they have a contract.
Right. So that's So, like, are they going to be? They're going to have a binding contract that says that you can't leave, or is it going to be like you can leave, but you have to pay it back, like some company bonus?
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that would certainly be interesting. I wonder if that helps put a little stop to some of the crazy transfer portal stuff.
I think that it would.
College football is going to turn into like a smartphone contracts. Like remember back in the day, like you can't take your number with you. You have to be here for 2 years. All these like restrictions, and then Congress will make some rules saying, "Hey, you can go wherever you want."
Do you want your goddamn $1 million or not, you 5-star quarterback? And if you want your $1 million deal, then you have to stay here.
Yeah.
It's the thing that makes sense that wouldn't make sense now because they're not being paid.
Do you know, I mean, there's already resentment among a lot of people about these college athletes getting paid. It's not a huge number, but it's not a, you know, the sort of old school types probably don't care for it very much.
No, they don't.
And I wonder if, like, you're only going to generate a great deal of resentment if your school pays you $250,000 and then you jump ship to a rival or you jump ship to some other school in the country, right? Like the vitriol is going to be fucking intense if you are getting paid all of this money and then you turn out to not be that great, or you feel like you didn't get enough playing time and now you go fuck off and go play for somebody else.
Right. Or like worse still, what if, you know, the rules about being eligible for the red shirt, like if you don't get enough playing time and you say I'm not going to play anymore just to preserve this year, like there could be a lot of
people are doing that.
They're already doing that.
Yeah, but the thing is, if we keep watching, nothing is going to stop.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's the thing. People will continue to watch because it's like
I'm going to keep watching.
Yeah, so like it doesn't matter what you do.
The old people will die.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also wonder if, because the people that I'm talking about who don't care for the paying of the players stuff, who raise the most stink about this $20 million fund that they're going to be asked to contribute to, are the people who donate these enormous checks to these schools, right? The boosters, the people who
theoretically, it's the same kind of person, but not really.
Here's what I want you to think about. Who do you imagine is the sort of person who you can call up on the phone and as a fundraiser for your university athletic department and say, hey, why don't you cut us a check for like $20,000 or something? Yeah. And the answer to that is
rich
professional people, rich professional people who are fundamentally conservative, sort of in important ways, people who are institutionalists. They want their money going to the program. These people are donating to Kirby Smart and the athletic director.
Yes, but
and
they
to Butt
want
Smear
to
building.
win. They're crazy people.
Yeah, they want to win, but they don't want to give. Look, the next time somebody gives a Georgia player $250,000, he goes out and he buys a fucking Lamborghini or whatever the fuck it is that he's driving 106 miles around the loop there in Athens. That's what you're doing with the fucking money? Like, there's a reason why we don't give these kids big piles of money. It's because they're fucking stupid, right? This is the mindset of somebody who would be willing to donate $25,000 to the university based on a phone call, right? So, like, the idea here is we like to give our money to responsible parties, which in theory are the athletic departments, is the coaching staff and the institution itself, rather than the idiot players who are just going to make asses of themselves when they have these giant piles of money.
Right, but I think a lot of those same people, they've kind of accepted the reality, and they're more interested in fielding a competitive team. And if it means forking over money for the students, they'll do that. I mean, how many times have these boosters contributed money for shitty coaches that have these contracts, right? So, like, they're throwing their money away in other areas. So I don't think this will be a problem for them. I think they'll be fine with contributing the money because they want to compete at the end of the day. They may not like it, but they'll throw it down. They'll pay the money.
I don't know how reputable this rumor was because I didn't investigate. I think I just saw the headline or the tweet or something, but it was that Deion Sanders is done in Colorado because he's going to be the next head coach at Florida State, is the rumor going around. I don't know if that's wishful thinking or what have you. I don't think it's going to happen, in large part because the coach down there at Florida State, Norvell, Mike or Mark or something?
Mike.
Something with an M.
M. Norvell down there at Florida State. I saw a number. I think it's $84 million is the buyout that he currently has if he were to go right now. And at Florida, Billy Napier is a relatively cheap $26 million is the number that I have in my head.
A funny
Don't have it
thing
in front of me.
happened to me yesterday.
What's
I was talking to a client who very closely follows NFL, somewhat follows college. And whatever, we were talking about gambling and this weekend, and I said, Florida plays Mississippi State this weekend. And he said, I didn't find out who Florida's interim was.
He had assumed that the Florida coach had already been canned.
Just completely. I was like, oh, no, we're still doing this.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's going to take.
They're still keeping him there for torture.
There's no way that Norvell gets fired this year, right? And is owed $80 million to stay away.
I think you're right. What I don't understand is, in the NFL, which has all this money, right? Who was before they changed the rookie scale, the Oklahoma guy, the very frail quarterback, Sam something. Sam
Bradford.
Sam Bradford was given an ungodly sum of money.
Yeah.
Because he was the first overall pick. I think he probably, I could be wrong, but I think his rookie payout is higher than what it is now.
A 6-year deal worth $78 million with $50 million guaranteed.
Right, which I don't think like Bryce Young last year got that much money, right? And so they were able to constrain the payouts for these quarterbacks because they didn't want to pay all this money. Why hasn't that sort of correction happened with coaches? Because how many times have the Charlie Weisses and the previous coach, wasn't there the guy that they shipped off to Texas A&M that was at Florida State?
Jimbo?
Yeah, Jim. There's been so many coaches who have gotten so much money. Jimbo, at Texas A&M. Didn't they have to pay him
$85 million?
I thought Jimbo was $77 million or something.
Right. But what I'm saying is you would think going forward, these coaches are still commanding these outrageous sums of money that fall apart 14 games into their tenure, a year and a half into their tenure, and now the school is on the hook for all that money. You would think that would have corrected itself by now to where you'll get a first contract, and then if you make it through 4 years, then we'll give you the big contract or something, some sort of arrangement. But they're just going off name recognition, hey, this is what I command, and if I suck, then so be it. It's weird how they continue to get away with this.
They should be completely ashamed of themselves that they have to build into their contract. You cannot fire me.
Right.
And I'm sure that the agents sell it as, hey, this is security so that he can walk in with a straight face to a recruit's home and say, hey, look, I know we're having a tough year, but do you really think that the fine people down there at Tallahassee are going to cut me loose with $80 million on the hook?
That's true,
no,
yeah.
You can come to me. It's going to be just fine. And I think that's actually a pretty strong argument because I cannot imagine that they'd be willing. Because this is, we're talking about FSU here, right?
Yeah.
I know that they won a national title not all that long ago, but that was sort of a one-off. This is not a program that is what it once was, and is not some sort of
but the fact that it once was something is the thing. It is one of those programs that it's a name, and it is always going to matter to a lot of people.
Yeah, Dion makes some sense as the coach down there, and he's got to go.
He makes sense at Florida.
It's time to run from Colorado.
First of all, is there any appetite at Tallahassee for Deion Sanders now? This experiment is not going very well. Colorado.
Here's the thing: it's just recruits, right? So he proved that he can get top-level recruits. Well, but he got Travis Hunter. He got his kid.
He got his kid.
He got his kid.
He got his other kid. Who's
he doesn't
not
recruit.
As good.
That's Colorado's entire problem.
Yeah.
I know, but the idea here being that, sure, it's tough to get them to come to the HBCUs. It's tough to get them to come to Colorado. But you put him at Florida or Florida State, where you're in the SEC, or you're at his alma mater there at Florida State, and now he's a real draw. Right now he can bring him in.
No, but that's the thing. This was what Ari Wasserman was yelling about all summer. Is he really doesn't do the recruiting.
I know he's very busy. He's got to make those Aflac commercials with.
No, it's not that he's lazy. He thinks they'll come to me.
Straight racism.
He doesn't
straight to the racism.
Yeah,
Lori goes.
That's what it is.
Ari Wasserman and Lori both straight to the racism. All right, let's move along here. Simone Biles says not a big deal after video shows scoring inquiry snafu might have cost her gold. I'll be honest, I've read this article twice and I still can't figure out what exactly I'm supposed to be picking up from it. But apparently there's some behind-the-scenes footage from the Netflix documentary that they made called Simone Biles Rising that was given to Jordan Childs' legal team. Because, of course, Jordan, you will all no doubt remember the important events of this summer, just a few weeks ago now, when Jordan Childs, the American gymnast, appeared to be in fourth place in the floor exercise
But that
routine.
documentary came out before that.
No, I know, but I don't think it came out before. I think it was all
did.
happening. It was all happening while because they were.
The documentary Simone Rising or whatever it is came out before the Olympics.
Video
But they were
from
still
a camera
recording?
crew following
Okay.
Biles at the Paris Games for the Netflix documentary
maybe they're making
series
more.
Simone Biles Rising
Okay.
was given to Jordan Childs.
So it's still rising, or it's just called rising? Still rising should
More
be the
like
follow.
another episode or something.
Yeah, still happening. She's still ascending. She was 12 feet in the air. And they're heading 14 feet in the air. Anyway, Childs appeared to finish in fourth place, and then her coaches submitted an appeal saying, "Hey, you fucked up the scoring here. This flippy spin was worth an extra point." And the judges were like, "Oh shit, you're right. She did do the extra flippy spin. We missed it." And that poor Romanian chick who thought that she'd won bronze was then devastated by the fact that it had been stolen from her and given to Childs. And then a subsequent appeal long after the medal ceremony revealed, or appeared to reveal, that Childs' team, the coaches, submitted their report 4 seconds too late, or submitted their appeal 4 seconds too late. And then there was extra kerfuffle with that because the person who was determining whether or not that had in fact happened had previously violated the Hatch Act for Romania or something. Like they had somehow done some previous work for the Romanians.
On the take. Look at that.
And so maybe there's some untoward shit going on here under the table. And so that what this video appears to show, and I'll get to what it shows with regard to Biles in a moment, but the claim is that the video shows that her coaches asked twice in the final seconds, like literally before the 60-second thing expired. And so that whoever established that the countdown was 4 seconds over is definitively, objectively wrong based on the footage that the Biles documentary team has provided to Childs' lawyers.
So the reason why they took the bronze medal away is now true? Like they did lodge the complaint before the time expired?
According to the lawyers for Childs and the documentary footage, yes, they got it in before. And this has already happened, by the way. So the IOC has already given the bronze medal to the Romanian a few weeks ago, and has been attempting to procure Jordan Childs' medal back from her. At this point, it seems clear they need to do what I said that they needed to do 6 weeks ago or whatever, which is just give everybody a medal. No, this is bullshit. You fucked it up.
You got to split the baby in half. Cut the medal.
Cut the medal. All right. With regard to Biles, though, Biles finished .033 points behind Brazil's Rebecca Andrade to win a silver medal in the women's individual floor final. However, her coaches she thought that they had also submitted an inquiry on her behalf because she believed that she got gypped based on the scoring system. And as it turns out, they never submitted. She asked the coaches twice, "Did you submit the thing?" And then after a minute, they were like, "Yeah, we think we did." And then he said he did. And then they turned to Biles and they say, "Oh, they didn't send it." So they never even got the inquiry in for Biles. Wow. And apparently, if all had been fully on the up and up and all of the judging had been completely correct, Biles would actually have outscored the Brazilian and claimed gold.
Wow, that's crazy.
Biles tweeted, "Honestly, not a big deal for me because she has no hate, rage, win-win-win. Rebecca had a better floor anyways, upsetting how it wasn't processed, but I'm not mad at the results." And then in a subsequent tweet said, "Justice for Jordan, you hear me?" with a series of exclamation points afterwards.
Right. This is old hat for her, so no biggie, but for my friend, this, he needs this.
Childs, who'd never won an individual medal at the Olympic Games before, and it's probably her final Olympic Games. This is a very precious thing to her, and she doesn't want to have to give it back, understandably so.
What a fuck up by those judges.
Yeah, your boy Erpin, and all of his love for the Olympics. Yes. This is what the Olympics hath wrought, Erpin.
Indeed.
All right. That's the WGAS Newsbag Sports Edition. We will zip that up and move into the best game in every time slot for this weekend. And that's
I bet we're going to disagree.
College football thing. I don't know if we'll disagree because there's all right. I was going to say it's not a great weekend in terms of the games.
Yes, it is.
But it's a great weekend for the real sickos out there.
It's a great weekend.
Is the truth. Because there are some ugly games to watch. It's also a weird weekend where the most impactful games are all in the Big 12, oddly enough, which we might not be able to say again this season.
Right.
Like it's early enough in the season where a handful of Big 12 teams haven't, like they've sort of separated themselves from the back of the pack, but now they're going to start playing one another, and we're going to find out which one of them is actually any good, or which couple of them are going to compete for the playoff spot. And again, like this is probably the last time that you'll be able to say that, because the SEC and the Big Ten are going to take over the national spotlight after this weekend. Bonus game is the Friday night game. Usually we just do the Saturday games for the best game in every time slot. But there's actually one of the potentially better games on the weekend is tomorrow night, or tonight, I guess, as you're hearing this. Flip on whatever channel it's on. I think it's probably FS1.
What, us?
It
right
shows
now?
Fox here, but...
Yeah, Illinois at Nebraska. Illinois is ranked number 24, Nebraska number 22. Nebraska, of course, has the exciting
Fox
freshman quarterback, Dylan Raiola.
Oh, poor man's Patrick Mahomes. Like, he's trying to look like him. Is he the guy?
Yep. And then Illinois is coached by Brett Bielema, who was at Arkansas and Wisconsin in the past, and then also coached in the NFL for the Patriots for a little bit as an assistant to Belichick. But a fun game. I think it's a 7.5-point spread. It should be a classic Big Ten defensive struggle, but a good game for a Friday night. I'm excited to watch Raiola because I haven't gotten to see too much of him this season yet. And then on Saturday, where's the game day crew this weekend? Are they at?
I think they're at Clemson. No, they're at Oklahoma, obviously.
Oh, that's right. They're at Tennessee, Oklahoma. All right. So at noon, after the game day show wraps up, we're going to have, I think that the main game for that time is, unfortunately, Florida at Mississippi State.
It's so exciting. I've not been this excited.
Is it? Because they're two bad teams.
So bad. What's the spread thing?
Florida is favored by 6 points on the road.
Because they had to do something, right?
Stark
it's not
Vegas.
because Mississippi State lost to Akron last week, right?
Oof.
But by a lot.
Was that last week?
Toledo. It was Toledo last week. 41-17. Toledo.
That's
real bad.
Holy Toledo.
They've also lost. They also lost to Arizona State.
But that's not as embarrassing.
That noon window is pretty awful.
I'm so excited. I'm probably not going to get to watch any of them.
Florida -6 at Mississippi State with an over/under of 58.5 points. So it's going to be ugly. Hopefully, the odds makers believe that there will be a large number of points scored. So turn that on. Hope for sloppiness. And if Florida cannot win that game, I know Lori is, for some reason, she has a great deal of empathy for Billy Napier, which I don't understand because he wears
you know why?
He wears a lot of blue and orange.
Okay, here's why.
He's a Florida guy through and through.
Here's why the empathy. Because he's a Stetson Bennett fan.
That's disgusting. That's the worst thing you've ever said.
So what? Why?
The transitive property of liking Stetson Bennett is enough for you to have empathy for a Florida coach? It's gross. All right, the second TV at noon is Kansas +2.5 at West Virginia with an over/under of 56.5 points. I think that's probably actually the better game to watch than the Florida at Mississippi State, but I didn't want to upset my sicko wife, so I put Florida
Billy Napier was who Stetson Bennett would have been playing for had he not gone back to Georgia after he left. He was going to go play for Billy Napier at Louisiana.
That is a weird reason to care for the coach of the Florida Gators.
I mean, I would like him to keep losing, but I want him to not have a job. I want him to release himself from the Florida Gators.
Yeah.
So that he's not one anymore.
Anyway, like I said, Kansas at West Virginia should be a fun game as well. Kansas lost a game that they should have won earlier to Illinois, maybe, actually, speaking of. I think they might have already lost to Illinois this year. But and then, of course, West Virginia has lost to Penn State, and then also lost to Pitt. So they are desperate for a home win at this point, I would imagine. Should be a fun game. All right. Then moving into the 3:30 or 4 o'clock window here, Utah ranked number 12, and this is where we get into the Big 12 stuff. Utah plus 2.5. This game has moved all over the place. It opened.
USC Michigan is the more important game there.
I disagree, and I will explain why here. This game matters in terms of the Big 12 much more than the USC Michigan matters in terms of the
Big Ten.
The Big Ten, because USC, while it's important to USC, it's not important to Michigan. Michigan's losing 3, 4, 5 games this season. Utah, Oklahoma State, those are two teams that are currently undefeated and are going to be vying for the Big 12 title.
With their old quarterbacks.
Yeah, with Cam Rising, and the other guy is like also 25 years old or something. The Oklahoma State quarterback is. That should be a fun game. Like I was saying, that line has moved all over the place. It opened with Utah as the 2.5-point underdog and has moved around all the way down to like minus 1.5 for Utah. And then now I think it's back up again with Utah as the underdog on the road in Stillwater.
Yeah, currently Oklahoma State 2.5-point favorites right now.
Right now?
Yeah, ESPN bet.
Which surprises me because all that we find out this week is that Rising is in fact playing and should be fine for the game. So I don't know. I assume that there's just a big pile of money.
Oklahoma State doesn't suck either.
Moving around. Yeah, I don't trust Oklahoma State here. I really like Utah in this game because I need them to win in order to keep my season-long parlay going. So rooting hard for Utah.
ESPN Analytics, 61% Oklahoma State.
Not buying it. All right, and then like we said, the second TV is USC at Michigan, and this is number 11 USC and fraudulent number 18 Michigan. Minus 5.5 for USC. My guess is that's an ugly game there. Michigan is starting their quarterback of the future, the Alex Orji kid, as opposed to the kid that they've started so far this season. And well, I guess we'll see. It's a big deal for USC to go on the road to Ann Arbor and see what they can do. But, you know, they've already done this. They went to Vegas and beat LSU. If they're any good, then they should handle Michigan relatively easy. I guess it depends on which Michigan defense shows up. Is it the Michigan defense that got absolutely shredded by Texas in the first half, or the Michigan defense that looked pretty much okay in the second half against Texas?
Right. And it could be that Texas is just that good. Maybe.
Maybe Texas is just that good. All right, then moving into the evening window, 7:30, we've got number 6 Tennessee -7 at Oklahoma with an over/under of 57.5 points. That's a whole lot of points, and that should be a lot of fun to watch. And we'll find out if Tennessee's offense is as good as they appear to have been against some fairly low-rent competition. Oklahoma's defense should be the best defense that Tennessee has seen so far this season.
Right.
But it's not clear that Oklahoma is going to be able to keep up with Tennessee's offense, and I think that Tennessee should handle this fairly easily, but it's certainly worth putting on. And then on the second TV at 7:30, although this might be an 8 o'clock game, I don't know. That window, we've got Cal traveling to Florida State as 2.5-point dogs the last time I checked.
7.
Okay, so 7 o'clock, California comes to Tallahassee, and Florida State seeking their first win of the season. They're currently 0-3 and desperately cannot allow Cal, of all teams, to come all the way across the country and send them to 0-4.
Abe, have you seen any of their Twitter?
No. What's
been,
there?
The Cal Twitter has been leaning into the
they're being
rainbows.
They're being like woke bullies and saying like
it works.
Like we're gonna bring DEI to Tallahassee and fucking kick your ass.
They say that my favorite one that I saw is if and when Cal wins, Gavin Newsom will become governor of both states.
Yeah, they're leaning hard into the California-Florida rivalry, including lots
Which
of
didn't exist that I knew. I didn't
weird
know that
woke
there was
stuff.
one.
I was initially I was gonna make this as like the pick. Like this should be like an easy pickup. Like Cal should win, and they get like the extra points with our pick'em system. And I was like, I don't know. There's something weird about this game.
There's something super weird. I agree with you. I'm staying the hell away from this game. I have no idea what's going to happen, but it's going to be on that second TV, along with, in the split screen, Baylor plus 1.5 at Colorado. Because for all the shit that we talk about Deion, it's always worth having on, at least on the second TV, to see
For all the shit we talk about Deion, he does get ratings.
Yeah, to see what Shedeur and Travis Hunter are going to do.
We should probably lean into those ratings.
All right, and then at the 10:30 window, the only thing worth putting on, if you must, is going to be Kansas State at BYU.
Or we can go to bed.
And as I said in my show note here, Lori basically just read it, even though she has no access to it. It said, or just go to bed, you weirdo. You do not have to stay up and watch Kansas State at BYU.
There's a Hawaii game starting at, according to ESPN, at 11:59 p.m., almost midnight. That's got to be like only degenerate gamblers are trying to recover from a days of losing.
And people who live on the West Coast.
I guess,
that's for the people. That's for the people who drank a whole lot during the nooner and fell asleep at like 4:30 on the couch and have just now woken up.
Second wind.
You've put the frozen pizza into the oven because you're fucking starving. There's still a bunch of beer in the fridge. You don't know what happened, but there's still plenty. And so you see what's on. You get out the gambling app. You turn on ESPN2 and you watch the Hawaii game. All right, let's move into week 4 of the CIB Pick'em game.
I hate this game.
Current standings, I'm on top, 65 points.
For now.
Lori at 37, Steve at 35, and Abe at 30. I'll let Abe start. Go ahead, Abe.
So, I'm bullish on Georgia Tech, but, I don't get to 10.5. Like, shouldn't it be much closer than this? So, like, just as a safety precaution, I took the 10.5 instead of just picking Georgia Tech outright. I think Georgia Tech should win this outright, but I'm trying to make a comeback here, so I need to be sensible. I can't afford to take these risks. Mizzou, what are we talking about here? Easy 21.5 point cover.
Who did Vandy lose to last week?
State.
Something shameful.
Georgia State, I believe.
Yeah, lost to Georgia State.
Yeah, so come on. Easy cover. And then,
although maybe Vandy's one of these teams, they play up to the competition, right? They kicked Virginia Tech's ass.
Yeah.
And then lose to Georgia State. Transitive property here. Georgia State might win the ACC this season, quite possibly.
Maybe. I'm already penciling that in.
I don't think that they can do that.
That's a lock, Mizzou. Easy. Ole Miss, 36.5. Also
riding Lance hard in the early going here.
You gotta ride the team.
I think all of your points just from Lance Kiffin bets. It might be
that and the Colts losing. It seems to be that's. So I got Ole Miss and then Baylor winning outright. That's going to be my at Colorado. I think Baylor is going to be Colorado, and then on Sunday, I still don't trust this Colts team. They're somehow still favorites, even though they suck. So I'm going to take the Bears outright. So this is going to be like a 35-point week. Watch.
35-point ceiling. You could, if I go 0 for and you go 5 for 5, we could be tied at the end of the weekend.
The season is long. I don't need to get all of the points back.
Very long season, yes.
I do this in the morning, and I just, I guess I think Michigan's going to keep it close with USC, or I thought that this morning.
That sounds likely.
I also kind of want them to win. So that's the thing. I want to watch these games and not be rooting against myself because of a stupid game that I don't even like. This is
the one thing. I know we're in the middle of something here, but the one downside to actually gambling on sports is that, I love football. I love watching football, whether or not there's money on the game. But it does take something out of it when I'm watching a game that I have money on in the opposite way, and something awesome happens, and it's like, that was awesome, but But my fake $45 that I'm trying to win from this game, and I call it a fake $45 because, like, I don't ever really take money out of the gambling app. Yeah. I don't really put money into the gambling app. It's just this pile of money that lives in the gambling app that I nurture and try to keep above a certain number so that I don't have to add more to it.
Right.
But it does. It sort of like robs some of the joy. Yeah.
It does.
Times.
It's like all of it for me.
But also sometimes, I mean, well, I'll get to my picks in a minute. Go ahead, Laura.
Okay, so I guess Michigan, not necessarily to win, but to not be embarrassed at home. The key thing is they're at home again. Whatever. BYU, I think it would be cool if they beat Kansas State at home. Syracuse, what's this?
Syracuse minus 8.5 with Stanford coming to town.
And they got
I like that because Stanford has to come all the way the fuck across the country.
Right. And also, Syracuse has like a future NFL Hall of Fame quarterback, so you should be good.
Right, Kyle McCord is there. Like, that's a weirdly small number to me. I'm surprised that it's only 8.5 points.
So I think they'll win by more than that?
Correct.
Is that what I'm saying?
That is what you believe, yes.
Okay. And JMU, keeping it closer than 11.
You can just say what I've written there. And
plus 10.5.
There we go. JMU plus 10.5.
And then Arizona State.
Arizona State outright as the road underdog, plus 3.5 at Texas Tech. Lori's got Arizona State winning outright. All right, and then listener Steve has got Utah minus the 1.5. He got in when Utah was an underdog, or was the favorite. I kind of want to just give it to him and say he's just calling for Utah to win. Like, I feel bad.
Yeah, I think that seems sensible, right? I mean.
Yeah, Cousin Steve, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just delete the minus 1.5 there. That's now a 10-point game for Cousin Steve. Right. So bonus, Steve. It feels dirty to make you take minus points there. All right, Rutgers as the road dog at Virginia Tech. He wants them to win as well. We've got Maryland minus 17.5. The Patriots plus 6.5 tonight.
Is that already a loser? Is that already a loser?
What's the score on that game right now?
I'm not sure.
14-3 at the half. So not dead yet, Steve. And then on Sunday, he's got the 49ers minus 7.5 at the Los Angeles Rams. And then we move into my picks here. I've got Georgia Tech outright. Abe, you gave this lengthy justification of why you need to play a little bit more conservatively, whereas I believe in the Dirty Jackets for some reason. And I'm just picking them outright. They are 10.5-point dogs, which makes this the first potential 20-point game of the CIB Pick'em game.
Yeah.
Big time stuff there. Don't let me down, Tech. But the joy that I'm going to feel in my hatred of Tech if they let me down.
No, that's fair.
Right? Like, that's the right move there, is I put all of my 20-point eggs into this Georgia Tech basket, and then when they let me down.
But if it were money, are you going to bet actual money too?
I don't know. We'll see. I always reserve my actual money betting for when I'm drinking my coffee on the couch on Saturday morning watching game day, and I'm perusing the app, and I see how does the spirit move me as I'm sitting there watching Pat McAfee do weird sexual assaults to Nick Saban sitting next to him. USC minus 5.5 at the Big House in Michigan. They're not losing that game by less than a touchdown. Get the fuck out of here.
So you and Lori are in conflict in that game.
Indeed we are. Among many other ways in which we are in conflict constantly off the air.
No, we're fine.
The lady doth protest too much. Utah outright at Oklahoma State because of my I'm chasing my nine team parlay for the end of the year. I need Utah to win that game. So there's 10 more points potentially for me. Tennessee minus 7.5 at Oklahoma. I do not believe in you, Oklahoma. Tennessee's going to win that game big.
The thing with Josh Heupel and how they still love him there, I
don't know how anyone could love Josh Heupel just looking at him.
He's a big fat guy.
Yeah, I mean, like the fine people at Little Debbie no doubt appreciate Josh Heupel.
Be nice.
All right, and then I've also got SMU at home with TCU. TCU has sucked since Georgia dismantled them.
Yeah, that's right. How long ago was
the national
that?
title game
so
a couple of
Florida
years ago.
State.
So I like SMU at home as a home dog. So I've got a big old pile of points available to me
What do
this
you got,
week.
like 50? What is your ceiling? That's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, ceiling of 50 points this week.
Wow.
Good stuff. We'll see how that goes, which I believe, go back to my show note here. Yeah, that brings us to President Jimmy Carter's Lock of the Week, live from Plains.
Hello to my dear friends at Cast Iron Balls, and also to the college football is meant to be played on Saturdays. Jesus rose from the dead on Easter Sunday and fulfilled all things, all laws, including the commandment to keep the Sabbath holy. Christians began to worship the Lord on Sundays to celebrate his resurrection. Thus, Christ's fulfillment of the laws of the Old Testament paved the way to play football on Saturdays, which of course is why my friends of the Jewish faith are so underrepresented in the sport, as they still keep the Sabbath on Saturday. Which is not to say that college football must only be played on Saturdays. Nothing beats getting home from Wednesday night church services just in time to lay down a few dollars on some action. God help me. Still, I worry that playing games on practically every day of the week runs the danger of making Saturdays less special. And this Friday night game in Nebraska strikes me as one that is much better suited for a crisp Saturday afternoon. The TV people will always get what they want, tradition be damned. And so now we play on Fridays. Illinois comes to Lincoln with 3 wins, including a hard-fought victory over Kansas. Nebraska is also 3-0, with a dominant performance over Coach Prime's much ballyhooed Colorado offense. But the Fighting Illini defense will be the first real test that standout freshman Cornhusker quarterback Dylan Raiola has yet faced. Nebraska's defense may be even more fearsome, I'm afraid, and I think they are going to give Illinois quarterback Luke Albert a very hard time on Friday night. And this is perhaps neither here nor there, but Illinois coach B. Illinois was born in Prophetstown, Illinois, named after a Native American prophet named Obaki Sheep. Indian prophets always did give me the willies. I'm not proud of it, but there's no sense denying it either. All that is why Nebraska, minus 7.5 points, is my lock of the week. And if you're looking for a little extra sugar to go with those nuts, might I suggest playing the under. 42.5 points is an awful lot in what figures to be a Big Ten defensive struggle. As always, enjoy the games with good food and drink, and most importantly, good company. May God bless this great nation and this great podcast. Until next week, this is Jimmy from Plains for Cast Iron Balls.
You're a bad person.
You know, instead of building all these homes that he did with Habitat for whatever, he should have just been a degenerate gambling guy like Jimmy after his presidency. This is much better.
I cannot believe that the former president said, if you're looking for a little extra sugar to go with those nuts, might I suggest playing the under? What a tremendous series of words for the former commander-in-chief to have said. Indian prophets always did give me the willies, President Carter announces on a podcast, is the headline that we will see. You've been listening to Cast Iron Balls, a podcast with Bob and Abe. To be clear, that was Jimmy Carter taking Nebraska minus 7.5 points. The former president is 2-1 on the year, looking to go 2 games over. This is a big week for Jimmy, yeah. I have to say. The difference between 2-2 and 3-1, yeah. Maybe not mathematically so much, but psychologically, emotionally.
You're kind of creating a little gap, yeah. Remember back in the day when wins mattered in college football? Now that the playoff format exists, you can afford to lose a game or two. They would have these shakedown Saturdays when there's a lot of like ranked teams going against each other. This is a shakedown Saturday for Jimmy. He needs to survive this.
Yes, he does. And tomorrow night, Friday night, we'll all be tuned in. An exciting Friday night game. If for some reason you desire more from us, head on over to brainiron.substack.com. We do other stuff too. Also available wherever you find your podcasts, obviously, because that's how you're listening to us. The opening and closing themes of the show were composed by Mark Gillig, tetramermusic.com, Tetramer music.com. For more from him, Abe. It's Thursday night. Have you consumed any sports content over the last couple of days that is worth sharing?
So 2 little tidbits. One, FX started their American sports story, the Aaron Hernandez thing. And so far...
That guy's too small. I don't know. I've only seen promo photos.
This is an epidemic. They had the too small O.J. Simpson, too.
Yeah. I haven't even seen him in comparison with other people, I don't think. I think I've only ever seen the still photos, maybe a couple of shots of the show itself. But I don't know. The immediate feeling that I got from the still photo is, that person is not nearly large enough.
Do they not know how big football players are?
I wonder if because this is like a Ryan Murphy production, right? Like he does these American whatever. So I wonder if the target audience are people who don't watch sports, so it doesn't matter to them. Just like, to Lori's point about O.J. Simpson, like Cuba Gooding is like nowhere near the stature as O.J.
Like not... Yeah. It was so distracting the whole time.
Not even close. Yeah. And then the same thing.
Cuba might still be smaller than OJ. Right. OJ's been dead for some time.
That's right. So, yeah, you have to set that aside. I think in some promos they were showing I didn't get a good look at the future Tebow. They showed Tebow for like half a second. And he doesn't look like Tebow, but like so far it's fine. The problem with like storytelling is that you have to
give... The problem with storytelling
is that you have to kind of give motivation. This guy is probably just a crazy fuck who killed people and then he killed himself, right? But in the story, they tell the story of like his dad, one of these like, toxic masculinity guys. Like, don't be such a pussy.
Childhood.
Yeah.
The rough childhood explains why he's a psycho murderer.
We watched the Untold whatever on Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
With his gay buddy.
Yeah, so the first episode was a lot of gay, and they just kind of...
Well, you did say Tebow was gay.
That wasn't the gayest part. I mean, they open with like him like in one of the he tries to kill one of his friends because he's paranoid. Anyways, it'll be interesting to see how the story develops. I don't know how it ends, but that was one. The other one is...
All I ask for out of this Ryan Murphy, Aaron Hernandez production is that they make that piece of shit coach of his a true villain. Like he needs to be... Urban Meyer needs to be a total piece of shit. And if Urban Meyer is a total piece of shit, I'm for it.
They actually featured Urban Meyer a couple of times in this one. Like he was giving like I guess it's got to be a sleazy process to recruit top talent the way they went about it. Like because he was supposed to go to UConn because his old man went there, but his old man died, and so Florida swooped in like, hey, fuck your old man, come play for Florida. We have a talented roster, and they did. I mean, they were right. I mean, the pitch makes sense in retrospect, but like
they won a bunch.
He was supposed to go to UConn. The other thing was, you guys know ESPN's Woj bombs. Adrian. I can't say his full name because
Lori does not. I think it's Wojnarowski.
The guy who retired just now.
Yeah, so he had a multi-year deal still with ESPN, paying him $7 million to deliver news like 3 minutes earlier than you would find out, anyways. Right? So it's a weird economy that exists. But what's interesting is
they pay him $7 million because he would get text messages from like assistant GMs across the NBA who wanted to be his buddy.
Yeah.
And then he would tweet them out, like you're saying, 2 minutes faster than the next guy.
Right.
And that is worth apparently. It's completely inexplicable to me why someone, like, it's not like he's a tremendous journalist.
Right.
He's just good at finding information out just before it becomes public. And I don't know why that's such a meaningful thing to an organization like ESPN that they would pay that sort of money to.
Right. And he's probably, he's cultivating all these relationships, and he's probably giving them information that's privileged, to keep up, It's probably all slimy. Anyways, what's interesting is that he's leaving this, what seems to be like a very stressful job. No matter where you are, you have to have like your two phones next to you. Like even when they're on TV, you see them always looking down because some agent is sending them a message about some transaction. So he leaves that whole world. He's like in his 50s to go back to his alma mater, St. Bonaventure, to be I've never heard of this in college, the general manager Like, whatever happened to athletic director? Like, I've never heard of general manager for a college sport. And so he's going to go there. The first thing I thought of, maybe this is just, my cynical self. I'm like, there's going to be some news that will come out, some negative news about him. He's getting ahead of something.
That's what I thought. Literally the first thing I thought, and part of it was because all I saw was Waj resigns, and I thought, oh, he did a Me Too.
Right.
Like somebody, like he and who was the Rachel chick, the small mouth, who was
Rachel
her name?
Nichols or who?
Yeah, Rachel Nichols.
Small
like
mouth.
he did something untoward.
He did a Me Too, huh?
He did something untoward to Rachel Nichols or something a few years ago, and it's about to come out.
Oh, yeah. So, maybe this is disparaging to Woj, but like that was just the first. I was like, that's weird. This guy's leaving. I mean, maybe the best case scenario is that this is a stressful job, and then at his annual checkup, his doctor said you're going to die of stress, and his wife and his family told him we need to have an intervention, and you need to have a less stressful job, and he's going to school to do whatever. Maybe that's the real reason.
Yeah. Or maybe he just always wanted to run a college basketball program, and being a fucking reporter who just gets text messages is fucking lame and not that cool. And even though it's a big pile of money, it's not worth it.
Right.
I don't think that I've ingested or consumed any sports-related content outside of what we've already discussed here tonight. Lori, how about you?
A client of mine who is a Florida fan sent his nephew to me. And this nephew is a senior in high school and plays football. Big kid, not going to play in college or anything, probably. But his uncle's a Florida fan, so he's sort of a Florida fan. And he's not lived in a world where Florida is good.
Oh, wow.
Like, sort of he has, but
Yeah.
because he was born in 2007 or 8 or something. But he was like, yeah, it's Florida's never been good.
That's crazy,
as
yeah.
far as I've known. And I was like, do you know how happy that's making me to hear you say that?
I mean,
It was
think
great.
about-
It was so great to hear. He's like he's massive.
Yeah.
He's like 6'4". He's a
Yeah.
massive person who's like, I don't know what it's like to have Florida be good.
Wow.
think about what Georgia has done since
Yeah.
after the COVID season. Like, since that, I mean, you have not lost to Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, or Tech because you have not lost to anyone in the regular season, right? Except, like, you've lost to Alabama twice.
Right.
But you have not lost to Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, and Tech. It's fucking insane. I mean, Calvin, I remember
He's spoiled brat.
a few years ago, I was looking at like what Calvin's record is against Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, and Tech, and like I haven't done it this season, but like in Calvin's life, the record against Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, and Tech is just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's quite a time to be a
Golden
Bulldog
Age.
I
fan.
started watching Veep, which is not sports related.
Okay.
I could watch Veep. You don't have to watch Veep by yourself.
I'm on the I don't have time except when I'm on the treadmill. So you can watch it when you're on the treadmill, but I only have time when I'm on the treadmill.
I only caught like the occasional Veep episode. I
Yeah.
always enjoyed it, but I never made a point of watching every single episode.
I
of
would
Veep.
like to watch TV with you, but I am too busy.
Yeah. Oh, we should stop podcasting so much. Just,
I would just do school more.
yeah. All right, Abe, have you got anything else for us tonight?
Nope.
Well, I guess that's all we've got for you tonight then, and we will talk to you next time.
Later.
App State 41-7 against South Alabama.
Yep.
How the fuck does that happen if you're any good?
They're
Well,
not, I
you're
guess.
not any good. Yeah.
Or something.
Oh, you know what's happening? They looked ahead.
Oh, who do they have
know,
coming up?
They have Liberty next week.
Oh, the big Liberty.
Did you guys record the Biffler last night, you bums?
We did, but Erpin, who uploads the stuff, he went to like South Georgia for work, so maybe in the next month or so, it'll come out.
Don't you have the little card that has all of the...
Yeah, but he's got like all of the... Basically, he always uploads it, and we just kind of kept it that way. I probably could just do it.
You're very
Abe, you're
busy.
what do you call it? Well, you're a fucking hired gun for these podcasts. You just come in, you lay down the magic, and let somebody else take care of it.
That's right.
The proceeding was created with 100% human content.